Hello everybody, welcome back to Minutemen Gaming. I am Ray, and today we're going to bring you something a little bit different. We're going to bring a comparison between the NCR recruit and a Caesar Legion recruit, and see how they stack up and how they pair, and along with a little bit of their history and equipment on what they use in the battlefield. And at the end of the day, we're going to see who would actually win on a one-on-one scale. So sit back and hopefully you guys like what goes on. Oh, don't forget, hit the like button and subscribe and the notification bell. We will first start off with Caesar's Legion because they're a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier to define what they are because it's just easy. So as you see, Caesar's Legion is actually 90% of them are actually outfitted with light armor, which isn't very good in anything, even hand-to-hand combat, because you're still going to get your ass whooped. But the way that they do it is, it's cheaper, it's easier to make, and easier to find all this crap out in the wasteland. You're probably wondering, at the same time, what does the Legion actually use in terms of weaponry? Well, if you're a recruit, you're normally just cannon fodder. You're just ahead of the veterans and the primes, because they're the ones that they're trying to protect the most. And normally I would have to probably say that you'd be lucky if you would make it to the age of 25 in the Legion, because, like, as I said, you are used as cannon fodder, and they hardly ever have any weapons besides throwing spears and machetes. If you are a recruit, minus what they pillage off of dead foes in the field, but they don't get much. You know, like their most common tool is probably like a 357 pistol. Yeah, it's good for up close, but I think it's kind of like far range. Sometimes they are equipped with a 9mm pistol, as you see here. Sometimes they're also equipped with a vermin rifle, which you will see if you haven't seen already. They are equipped with like the lesser known, a little bit lesser known type things, cheaper, more prone to breakage. It's just weird how just like everything is structured. They're mainly a melee force. They're not really a they're more of a we will charge in head first and see what happens kind of thing. In their structure on how they're like led is by legates. There's actually quite a bit of legates, but also the way that it is, it makes it hard for them to be able to, like, what's it called? It's harder for a legionnaire recruit to be able to adapt to the situation. They're not really trained to be adaptive. They're trained to listen and follow orders from a very, very young age. And they're just picked out of tribes that the Legion has pillaged along the way. That's how they get their recruits. Unlike the NCR, where we'll get into that in a minute. But the Legion, if you fail in the Legion, like if you lose a battle, you're probably going to die. They will flog you, which flogging is where you get whipped. But not whipped to death. You get maimed. Or you get death. Those, and anything in between. So it's kind of hard. So pretty much whenever someone most likely loses a battle, and you are with the Legion, you are not there long. You're trying to get away from the Legion, so you probably will desert. And lately, the Legion has not been doing very good, because they came up against a brick wall, as you would say, in the NCR. And the NCR is kind of like the same way on their like aspect of things. So, so you are equipped with throwing spears and machetes. And that's coming from the top, And it's kind of weird, because if you walk out into the wasteland and you interact with these groups, and you actually get attacked by the Legion, if they are recruits, you will know that most of them will have throwing weapons and or machetes. Why? Just because, like I said, they're just cannon fodder. They are just there to fill in the gaps and to make a line so their veterans in their primes do not get murdered. Or even like their legendary, or whatever the hell they're called, like their top tier, so they do not get killed. And that's not a good thing. That is not a good thing at all. So, their training is kind of lacking. Like, they don't get trained in anything special. They don't get trained in, like, anything. They just throw you out there and just hope for the best. Like, hey, there you go, buddy. If you fail, you're gonna die. So, good luck. Now, let's move on to the NCR, which is a little bit easier. It's not easier, but you'll see. Now we're moving on to the more professional force. The NCR recruits are more geared towards a longer range, a longer sight line, and they're more professional because they're actually trained. They're conscripted, but they're trained, unlike Caesar's Legion recruits, where they just throw them out there. The Legion, the NCR wants to make sure that they have numbers to patrol what they have. And you get paid if you are, in the NCR. It's not a lot, but recruits get paid like 200 caps a month, which for them it's pretty good. Now let's go over like what their loadout is. The NCR recruits loadout is, as you can see here, it is NCR. I think it's called like mantle armor, which really it's just a medium armor, and you also get a helmet. Yes, they will have fatigues, but I don't believe that is what a recruit would have. But you also have the service rifle, which shoots a 5.56 round at a long range, and that's what you get. They also train you in some hand-to-hand combat whenever you are with the NCR. Now, how they are led is by a general, which I do believe this is their structure. Like, their general's at the very top. It's kind of like the U.S. military. You get like sergeants and stuff that come and trickle their way down, which means that the NCR is able to adapt. You don't get flogged if you lose. You are able to fight another day, and you're not used as cannon fodder, which decreases morale. So I would say that these guys would have actually higher morale than your typical legionary. Their equipment's better. You get trained for like hand-to-hand combat because you will see MPs, but for the majority of the time you don't really see them with like knives or anything of that nature. But you will see them with grenades and or like dynamite. So I mean, like, it really comes down to just like what happens, what saves the day. The NCR is more organized, and they did win the Battle of Boulder, the Hoover Dam, the first one. They barely won, but they won. That counts for something. And I mean, really, the NCR gets a lot of hate, a lot of flack from the people of the Mojave, and I don't know why. Because they're there to help you. Yes, they do have their own agenda, but you're not going to be sold into slavery like if you were a Legion. But so we're going to go over which would be the best fit. Who's going to win this fight? Because the NCR was a little bit easier to go over. So let's see who's going to win in this fight. So in my personal opinion, I think that really the NCR recruit would end up winning in this fight. Solely because he has better armor, better equipment, better training, and he can actually adapt to his battles, to his, that, and they have like special skill sets, as you've seen in the Battle of Hoover Dam, the first one, where they just led Caesar's Legion into a trap and blew them up. If Caesar's Legion was able to adapt and not have been, marching pretty much like 3 rows deep with like, I don't know how many men, let's just say like, I don't know, 100 or so. They wouldn't have been doing that like a parade style down to the middle of the fucking town. They wouldn't have lost. They wouldn't have died. If you, go like our troops do nowadays, or used to in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they sweep, clean sweep, here, there. Kind of like how I would think the NCR would, because since they're more based on a more modern military doctrine than, Caesar's Legion, and more of a hit and run, but yet we'll parade around and look good for the camera kind of people. So, I think the NCR recruit would come out at the top of this list. They would be number 1. Now, what I would like to do is, on top of this, hopefully I can get your guys' opinion on who you think would win in a one-on-one. But on my next video, I would like to do like maybe the NCR Rangers versus the Legates, or the Centurions, since that's kind of like the top of the line, best of the best. See who actually wins. We'll dive deeper, see what kind of stuff we can get ourselves into. So this has been Ray from Minutemen Gaming, and until next time.